agenda.
Do you want the just simple combined one on Facebook?
Oh, okay, I can find that. That's fine.
I say that's in the Council of Crowns page. And then if you need the BoD meeting agenda, I can pull that up, but it's just a copy paste of the other thing. All right, so let's start this off. This is the BoD meeting for October 15th for AmpGuard of Alaska Incorporated. And the first item on the agenda is the notion of closing Icefire Bay's bank account. Does anybody need any discussion or explanation of what or why that is? No, so the quick synopsis is that Icefire Bay is really awesome with handling physical money, and they don't have easy or reliable access to the branch or bank account that we've chosen to use. And so instead of letting the bank hold $1,000 more hostage in the account under that name, we were just going to close that account and continue to operate on a cash basis for Icefire Bay, which is the way that they're operating right now anyways. So just that way the bank doesn't get to hold our money. Is that a pretty decent synopsis, Mara?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we'll just do a quick vote, yay or nay, down the line. And Red, you first.
Yes.
Okay. Cameron.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Okay. Is that sufficient? I think we're good.
Yes.
So
yeah, we should have everybody vote.
Everybody vote. Would I be voting?
If you want to.
Okay. And then does Amanda vote?
Amanda
yes, I
votes.
do. Board of director.
So do we have 5 yeses? All right. Next item, unless somebody wants to stop me and discuss something. No. Okay. So there was the idea of making separate accounts for the 4 large events that Northreach runs. That would be DC, WC, Three Barons Fair, which is the Ren Fair, and Alaska State Fair. Fairs, and cries and coronations. Actually, Jason, do you want to just give like a 2-sentence quick synopsis? You probably have it at the tip of your tongue, and I'll stumble over it.
Well, basically, these events that have really large budgets, the organization has 3 different options, realistically. One is to have the event coordinator pay for everything out of pocket and get reimbursed. I think that's probably the least ideal scenario. The other one is to just give them a giant wad of cash equal to the amount of the budget, which there's not a ton of accountability built into that. And the third would be to create a bank account specifically for that event, and then give the event coordinator access through an ATM card or a Visa card or whatever, which creates a ton of electronic trails to all the money transfers. Also gives us the option of having money from the event be directly deposited in that account, which makes tracking the money for that event a million times easier. We, as an organization, we need to move to one of the 2 latter scenarios and not have event coordinators be expected to essentially pay for things out of pocket and wait for reimbursement. So the cleanest way to do it is just, I mean, like if Dungeon Crawl is going to have, a huge budget, then give it its own account to manage that money. Same thing with State Fair, stuff like that. We get thousands and thousands of dollars. Really, that's the best way to do that.
Okay. So one point I like to add is I really like to go electronic. I don't like the idea of handing, $5,000 in cash to somebody. That sounds dangerous and risky. And then the other question, I guess you guys can tell me with your votes basically, but I have it set up so it's 1 vote says yes to just doing all 4 of the accounts. If you guys really, for some reason, want to split it up where it's some get their own account and others don't for some reason, I guess you could shoot down this first vote and then we can split it up if that's what you guys want to do.
Would it be reasonable to consider just doing one large event account rather than multiple?
Well, I can see the problem with doing one large one is if someone accidentally overspends, then they're dipping into other events' money.
Except for you can transfer that money out after the event during the auditing and balancing portion of the event.
I think with a little overlap between some of them, but like State Fair and Wolf's Cry, those are the two closest ones, I think.
Yeah, the other thing to consider too is you know, at what point do we on the calendar do we expect money to be in that account and for people to be accessing it? And if we want to start giving our event coordinators 8 months to a year to manage an event, then there's overlap on all of them.
Yeah.
One other question on that concept. We just voted to close the Icefire Bay account because they have to have $1,000 in it. If we open 4 accounts here, we're going to have $1,000 tied up in each one permanently.
Correct.
Yes, the budget for each one of these, though, is generally over $1,000 as far as I'm aware, right? Is that right?
I don't necessarily think that should be a problem, but like I don't know what our actual sitting in the bank money is. I know what passes through our budget, but I don't know what sits in the accounts.
Yeah, and one of the things that the board and the Council of Crowns will have to consider if we do have these separate accounts is you know, how much money sits in them. Like if somebody were to ask me, my recommendation would be that whatever the previous year's budget was for that event always stays in that account. You know, if they make more money than that, then it goes into the general fund and use it for the budget or whatever. But that way those events sort of maintain a protected status, and that no matter what happens, we've always got at least that basic money to run the event so that it can always happen. And if we do something like that, then there will always be a minimum balance in there to handle any fee issues.
But we're going to potentially need to have whatever the budget for that event is plus 1,000, potentially also plus an additional buffer in case there are budget overruns to avoid getting fees on the account.
Yeah, but I mean, yes and no. In worst case scenario, we have to pay the fees for a month, which is what, $5?
$5, yes.
Okay,
So
if it's only $5, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes under $1,000 and we get charged $5 until, you know, the event gets reconciled, that shouldn't be an issue. I will personally pay the $5 in order to streamline this event process. Like,
I hold you to that. I'm going to invoice you for $5.
it's on the record.
It's recorded. Any other questions or concerns? No?
Nope.
Okay, so let's just move straight to a vote. We'll do it as I had lined it up. Or okay, is anybody going to stop me? Is anybody going to, like, do we want to split this up, or can we just do this as one vote?
I feel it would be more beneficial if we split it up.
Okay. All right, so separate account for DC. Yay or nay? Amanda?
Yay. Oh, wait, so we're voting on each event individually?
That's what Red just asked me to do. So, yeah. Cool.
No,
I don't believe she did. I think you misheard her.
I want, I think it'd be beneficial to have separate bank accounts for the events.
Yeah. That's
okay.
That's what we're sticking with, I think.
Let me interrupt for a minute.
Sure.
I would like to make a motion that we create separate event accounts for Dungeon Crawl, Wolf's Cry, Three Barons Fair, and the State Fair.
I second this motion.
There we go. Okay. And after the motion, we call for a vote.
Yep.
Correct.
This is when we had the discussion, yada yada discussion. Call for a vote. Thank you, Red, for seconding it. Putting words in your mouth. All right, vote. Amanda, yay, nay.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Cameron.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
All right, we got it. Oh my God. It's like my fingers forget how to type. Who am I kidding? It's like I can type at work. Doesn't happen. All
Not
right.
gonna lie, I'm watching you type. It's a little bit sad.
Yeah. Do. I'm going to let Cameron take the floor for this last item.
Okay. I don't think it was last session. I think it was 2 sessions ago. We talked about the fact that according to the bylaws as written, regional monarchs can't actually establish contracts to like rent their gyms and whatnot. And we decided that we were okay with that, or we were okay with letting them do that, but we didn't properly get it documented in the way that these kinds of decisions should be documented for future reference. So I've written up a proposed resolution. It's the exact wording is in the document linked in the CoC page. I can read it off to you if you want it read off.
Is it publicly shareable?
It is not. Like, I think it's publicly shareable. Is anybody with the link should be able to
can view. Is it all right with you if I share that as with the populace?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Don't stop them. I'm just going to do that while you keep discussing. If people want you to read it, that's fine. I don't. I mean, I'm staring at it. So
short version, it's a resolution to allow local monarchs. A resolution of this board to allow the current local monarchs during their terms of office and all future local monarchs during their terms of office to establish the contracts that they need to establish to run their parks. So does anybody want me to read it, or have you already looked at it, or?
I've looked at it. Sets precedent that we haven't set before with the formatting, and I mean, we discussed this before the meeting started, but we, in case anybody else looks at it and has pause, we asked the secretary to certify that the resolution that's written there is true, so that it just gives another step with where the secretary is involved. So it's not that they have the authority to make the decisions. It's just that they're
responsible for the record keeping.
For the record keeping part, yeah. Are you guys on the board all on board with this item? Have you guys seen it? Familiar with it? Comfortable with it to vote?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't have any concerns.
No problems here.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to vote? Should we go
I
back?
make a motion we vote to adopt this resolution.
I'll second it.
Yay. All right. Amanda.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Cameron.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you what my vote is just because I don't. Yes. That should conclude. Oh my God, I lost the tab I was on. That should conclude all the items unless anybody has anything they want to bring forward for the BoD today.
Are waivers on the BoD, or is that CoC?
I guess it would depend on what phase we were at with the waiver. At some point, it would kind of flow through the BoD, but I don't think we're at a point where it matters for the BoD, unless there's something. What's your actual question? Is it the rewrite of the waiver, or is it something else?
Yeah, the rewrite to do the rewrite of it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we're at the stage where the BoD would address that yet, unless somebody disagrees with me. No. Okay. So we'll save that one for the CoC if we want to discuss it there. Anything else? No. Would somebody love to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn our BoD meeting.
I second that.
Yay. All in favor? Yay. Say yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay. We're done. 27. I put the time down. It's official. We're out. All right. So CoC meeting. Yay. And I'm going to write down all the groups that are here. Amanda, you are welcome to run away if you would like, or stay if you so choose. Just in case you felt she gone. Okay, just make sure she hadn't left yet.
Maybe I almost clicked the button. No, I'll be here for another 10 minutes if you need me.
Okay. So CoC meeting. Welcome to the CoC meeting, everybody, because that was a huge transition. Item number 1. Is Shelby happen to be around? Jason?
Yes, I am here.
Awesome. Do you want to give everybody a rundown of the updates for Grand Academy that you've been awesomely doing?
Absolutely. We've got some progress now. Big holdup all along was finding facilities, right? So we had, Drake had incredibly generously offered to allow us to use his dojo. And I was trying to acquire some classroom space through Wasilla High School. And in that process, I decided to reach out to Steve Martin, who's a member of Ravenstone and as a teacher in the Matsu School District, to see what he knew about how this whole process works of utilizing space at for school district facilities. And he informed me that as a teacher, he could get us space at his school at very, very, very low cost.
How low?
Well,
Sorry, I felt like
for the total price of $0. Right? Shocking. That was a better deal than I had found anywhere. And so
Ravenstone loves Steve.
yeah, absolutely. So we snapped that up. So there is a slight cost involved. Steve has to be there for all of the time that we're in the building. So he is very, very, very selflessly volunteering for the entire duration of Grand Academy classes, including setup, the duration of the classes, and tear down on all of the days. He has committed to being in that location with us. So if you see him, finger guns up the just finger guns. And because he's awesome. So with that, we've been able to start firming up some actual plans because we know exactly how much space we'll have available. Purchase the tickets for Glenn, so he is locked in. He cannot turn back now. We are working out a few final instructors, and then I will be able to post the actual class schedule. I've posted the facility schedule as far as we will still be splitting between 2 facilities. We'll be having some of the combat classes at Alaska Center for the Martial Arts because it is a superior combat facility for us. So we definitely want to continue to take Drake up on that offer. So this week we should have a day-by-day class schedule and the ability to register for those classes posted and available for people. So things are moving along quite nicely at this point in time. Addition of hosting this at Redington is that there's a very good chance that we will have some additional attendance from Redington students, and it is a junior-senior high school, so the vast majority of these will be students who are able to participate at AmpGuard, even outside of Grand Academy. So, and apparently there's also some teachers who are interested there. So Ravenstone, this might be a huge recruiting event for you.
I plan on attending with all the business cards that Gideon gave me, and I'll see how many people we can snag up.
Excellent.
I I did have a question for Hadeline.
Yeah.
So one of my younger members actually brought this question up to Darren, bring it in. His brother plays, but he's too young to play. If he goes to Grand Academy and he can't participate in the fighting stuff, but he can participate in the classes, is the price different or is it all the same across the board? How does that work?
It's all the same across the board. And the reason for this is that, like, there's classes that are offered during the combat classes. So there's opportunities for someone to be taking classes the entire time, whether they're in the combat classes or not.
Also, I want to jump in there real quick, and this is something the CoC can deliberate if they want to, but I see literally no reason that somebody under the age of 14 couldn't participate in a combat class. That's not nearly the same thing as a battle game with 60 people in it.
Yeah, and that's true. And it's instruction. Like, there's very little sparring that's going on, and even if it is, it's one-on-one. And I know that there is some precedent for members under 14 being involved in combat instruction. But even so, if they decide not to participate, or if the CoC decides that that's not an option, there are class opportunities, whether you're included in the combat class or not, through the entire event. Another question that's come up was, working out some transportation logistics between the two locations. So one of the things I will be doing is sort of setting up a ride share board for people to be able to coordinate together. I won't be coordinating official rides, but I'll be making a place for people to coordinate, between themselves. Same thing for sort of crash space. So this event starts on a Thursday night and it goes all the way through to Sunday night. There is no lodging included in this. So for out of town people, we'll sort of make I want to say Match.com, but that's probably a bad way to say this. Make an opportunity to find crash space that's available locally, or inexpensive lodging that also might be available. So to make it more accessible for out-of-town people to be able to come and do this without breaking the bank. So that's coming. Also, don't forget that Saturday night is the awesome AmpGuard Night Out that will be at the Extreme Fun Center. Great thing about the Extreme Fun Center is that there is absolutely zero cost for admission. So it is your choice of how much or how little you spend on this, but you have a lot of options. I heard they have a new rock climbing wall, but of course there's laser tag. There's also the upstairs area with a beer if you're so inclined, but it's also super family friendly. So bring your kids, play in the arcade, do some go-kart racing with your friends, bumper cars, all the goodness. So it's just a great way to spend some time with out-of-town people.
Laser tag's fun.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact they make you walk, but whatever.
Right?
They have to catch you first, right?
No one walks in there anyways.
So, was that pretty much all the things you want to share?
That's pretty much it. There's one other thing that I am trying to work out the logistics for, is to potentially offer sort of an upgrade bonuses to be able to have some one-on-one time with the Sword Knight Glenn that we're bringing up. So if you want, a little bit more a one-on-one intensive instruction or sparring opportunities, that you'll be able to sign up for those, potentially with an additional, cost involved to help defray his plane ticket. So, but that's not worked out yet, but it's a goal I'm working towards.
Okay. Awesome. I think I personally, and this is not to influence you guys, but I personally don't see any issue with letting those under 14 and of reasonable physical ability to participate in even the fighting classes, and as long as they basically can behave and participate appropriately. I would probably still ask that maybe a parent be there during that type of thing. So if the rest of you would like to agree, and we could set that in stone for folks, if you guys want, unless you want to have any discussion or anything about that.
I think as long as a parent is there, it should be fine. But should we put a minimal age on that, or what do you think?
I mean, I was trying to think of a minimal age as I was saying that, and I don't know of one offhand because.
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure that somebody is aware of sort of is being watchful for underage, or really anybody. They don't even have to be underage, right? But people who aren't behaving appropriately or safely in the class. So obviously we don't have a reeve there who's designated. And I mean, I don't see Glenn being the type to take anybody's shenanigans. But since it's not his event, it may not be fair to put him in a place for him to like kick people out of his class. So we should just have somebody who is there and mindful of that to, escort people out of the class who aren't behaving safely or who are being disruptive, regardless of their age. And then we, probably don't need a minimum age because, like an 8-year-old's not going to keep it together. They're going to get removed real quick.
But I could also see, like a 6-year-old wanting to stand there and think it's awesome and be totally quiet and engaged the whole time. So
I honestly don't see a lot of like 6 or 8-year-olds paying for a Grand Academy ticket to go to fighting classes.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So do you guys want to worry about it, set a minimum age or not, or?
I don't think setting a minimum age is going to really do anything. I just think having a parent there to watch, and if we deem it necessary, just fill out a waiver and call it good.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to charge for a parent that's just watching their kid do stuff. So,
Do we maybe want to ask Glenn how he feels about having underage kids in his class, because it is his class?
Yeah, I'll absolutely do that.
Okay, so I think if we give an approval tonight, because so on our side, as far as like, do we care, and then Glenn gets the final say, and make sure he knows that it's totally his call at the end of the day. If he doesn't feel comfortable for some reason, then we'll support him on that. Does that sound fair?
I agree with that.
That's fair.
Okay, so we'll just do a quick vote. Red, you're up first. Yay or nay?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, Cameron? All right, we'll come back to Cameron. Sean, yay, nay?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Yes.
Oh, yes, okay, 2 yeses. All right, Sean? Oh, now you're silent or something?
Yes.
Yes, okay, just quiet. All right, so we'll go ahead and say, yay, the underage folks to participate, and I think we'll be good with that. So just in case anybody needs a synopsis of what we just stated, it is underage kids can participate in all of Grand Academy, fighting portions included, pending the approval of the instructor, and as long as a parent is on site, and if the parent is on site solely for the kids' participation, we will not charge them for attending Grand Academy. So that should be the summary. In case anybody wants to add anything, it's your opportunity. All right. Next item we can skip because he's not here. Same with that next item. All right, this is just a reminder for the folks that are here that we're trying to pull together the inventory or the asset list for the kingdom, and so as you guys can, please add stuff to the Google Sheets file. And sorry, I'm cracking up my cat sentence, right? Get out of here.
He just wants to be a part of it.
Well, they're my window's open. That's why they're in here. Anyways, yeah, asset data collection item thing. Put stuff in inventory. Next item I have is up with the new castle design bid stuff online. I'm sure you guys probably saw that. And, sorry, what?
Go on. Are you chill with the way my park is doing our assets? Is that okay?
I haven't looked.
It's basically a Google format. It was the easiest way I could get all my top 5 to get all of our stuff together.
That's fine. I will let you collect the data however you want, and then you just can copy whatever they give you into the other file. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay. And that way we'll have a single file for all of Northreach, and we'll kind of update it from there. Oh, we lost Sean. Bye, Sean. And he's back.
My laptop overheated and kicked me off.
Overheated? Wow. You know, I haven't had a problem like that in a long time.
Well, it's a 6-year-old laptop that I'm about ready to take a shotgun to it. So I'll get a new one come Christmas time.
That could be fun.
I'll take the battery out first. You know, no lithium at the target range.
Okay, here's something to think about. I don't want this to be a discussion. I kind of have an off-the-cuff answer for it, but somebody just asked, curious about where the organization draws the line for needing paperwork and a guardian in regards to like battle games, which is obvious, need that for battle games, versus like fighting games and events. And the off-the-cuff answer that I would throw out there is that you basically don't need it for the events because we were covered by the event itself. You know, hosted at like the Alaska State Fair or the Three Barons Fair and those types of activities, where Amp Guard of Alaska has its own rules, and that's where the age requirements and paperwork and guardian and all that stuff comes into play. So if anybody wants to amend or change my answer there, can do that real quickly, or if we want to discuss that in the future, we can also do that.
I would just clarify to that essentially if Amp Guard of Alaska is hosting the event, then you need a waiver. If somebody else is hosting the event and we're participating in it, then it's not our event, right?
Right.
I would think any event that Northreach is hosting, whether it's something just like fighter practice, you need to be with the exception maybe ANS nights, I think you would need to be waivered.
Agreed.
So you're gonna waiver. Wait, we can't waiver everyone at a fair. So you're saying like?
No, we're not hosting a fair. That's hosted by somebody else, right? The Alaska State Fair is the host, the organizer.
Yep, it finally clicked in my brain. I got it.
I'll be honest, on a technical level, I would have a waiver for ANS night.
Yeah.
Because we're technically liable. It's our event. And our insurance, part of our insurance
is, yeah, I can see where that's
waivers. So if we have something happen and we don't have waivers, the insurance company's not going to back us because we didn't follow the rules.
Okay, if that's the case, waivers for everything Northreach related, then that works too.
You can never go wrong by having a waiver on somebody. Like, you won't get in trouble because they signed a waiver. Right? So if ever in question, just waiver.
Do you guys have
a waiver and you get a waiver?
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a lot of ANS people that aren't waivered? I mean, what a problem, right?
I think all of Ravenstone's ANS regulars are regulars at battle games too, so that's not a problem with us.
Right. All right, so that was just something that popped up, and it was easy enough to address and share. Hopefully that answers the question for Anybody watching out there? I think we were down to this last item. Oh, I started to say it. So the new castle design bid information is up, and I set an arbitrary date for those that missed it. It will be November 30th at 8 a.m. Basically, I prep stuff at some point on Fridays before CoC and BoD meetings, and so it better be ready and done and in my inbox before then. That's why I say 8 a.m. Because we'll have a BoD CoC meeting on December 3rd, most likely. So that's the scheduled one. So if you have questions or whatever, feel free to send myself or BoD member or CoC members a message, or post it on the thread on the Kingdom page, and we'll try to answer those and figure those out best we can. Anything else that we haven't? Because I'm at the end of my list. Is there anything that you guys wanted to bring up? I just assumed for some reason, Jason, that you weren't ready for a budget amendment for DC yet.
No, I've been working on that, and I'll be honest with the council. I'm struggling a little bit with trying to anticipate the budgetary needs of an event that's sort of beyond what we've done before. Yeah. So I'm putting together numbers. I'm really leery about shooting myself in the foot by requesting not enough money, but I also don't want to freak anybody out by requesting more than I need.
You need all of the money, all of it.
So
I'm sure.
One of the things I wanted to throw out is I would like the council to discuss how much of a priority it is for them to make a profit at the event this year, and how much of a profit they're interested in making. And if the council determines that the goal is to make the best event we can make with the goal of breaking even, then there's some different ways that we can go about doing budgets. Because some of the stuff that I have to get, a pretty substantial portion of the budget is going to scale based on ticket sales. So if we only sell 100 tickets, then I won't need as much money. But if we suddenly sell 250, obviously there's some budget items that go way up. Food, booze, table and chair rentals, like all that stuff goes way up, right? So if it's possible to potentially find a way to tie the budget to ticket sales, so the more tickets we sell, the more money I have, that's something that we could look into as well. I don't know what the perfect solution is to that yet. I'm working on it, but if you guys want to talk about it, figure something out, that would be cool too. I guess I don't really know what your guys' goals are. If the council wants me to make a 20% profit on the event, then I have to figure out, that, and that'll affect ticket sales and all of that as well too. So.
My opinion on this, breaking even is always, breaking even is okay. Profit's always ideal. But since you're going out into this new thing, the way you're doing this event, I think if you break even, it'd probably be okay. And also, I think it would be fine if you, so you don't have to worry about shooting yourself in the foot. If we give you a budget and you go, oh crap, I need a little bit more because I now found out I'm getting more people, that we go, okay, here's a little more.
Do we know what the hard? This would be a question for Amanda, and she's dipped out already. But do you know offhand what the hard profit was, the actual dollar value and profit was for the last DC?
I honestly have no clue.
Okay.
I was king at the time, but I didn't. I don't remember how much money.
Somebody asked me a year from now. I'm
say it was like $1,500.
Yeah, Shelby seems to think it was about $1,500 in profit.
Okay.
And whereas previously it's been, in the $800 range, maybe $600 to $800.
But some of the things for the council to consider, we're getting the site for an extra day. I'm still negotiating with the state fair to see, what kind of prices I can wrangle out of them. Sherry's generally been pretty awesome and working with us. But the site typically, like the standard price for that site is almost $2,000 a day. So adding an extra day adds a lot of cost. And you know, it starts to become sort of a nickel and dime sort of thing. Like every chair that we rent costs like $1 or $1.50. You know, every table that we rent costs like $10. So the difference between, you know, 100 people and 250 people for chairs and tables and food and booze and all of that stuff could be the difference between a $5,000 budget and a $9,000 budget once you kind of add all this stuff in there. But those are things that we're making money on, right? So every table and chair that we have to rent is because we sold an extra ticket, which means we made more money. And every extra case of beer we got to buy is more money we're making because we're selling it. So it's, you know, it's a complicated equation that because we have zero data on how an event like this is going to turn out, it's a little challenging. And I can give me some more time and I can come up with a better projection for you guys. But also be aware that when I give you that projection, there will be a lot of guesswork involved.
So yeah, my suggestion for this is going to be the obvious one, which is we approve the budget needed for your baseline things like the site and for how long you need it, and then sufficient budget to aim for, you know, whatever the normal amount of people that you think would attend, like the low ball attendance, and then open up, you know, once the schedule's set up, open up pre-sales and see how much we can get in pre-commitments, you know, in early commitments, and then scale off that and try to get as many early commitments as we can.
Approve a portion of the pre-event ticket sales to be used as part of the budget.
Yeah, that could be a thing too. Does that make sense as a strategy?
Yeah, both of those options make sense to me. Like I said, I can do a lowball projection and then use that as a, you know, like a down payment, as it were.
Right.
Or with Cameron's suggestion, just saying like, you know, giving me access to a certain amount of, you know, a percentage of the ticket or however, something like that, which just makes it so that we don't have to come back. And I guess technically we could, the council could approve things over Facebook if they didn't want to do, you know, wait for the next meeting.
Right.
I'm trying to make things as easy for me as possible. And if that doesn't make things as easy for you guys as possible, that's fine. I'm advocating for me. Simply because once I get rolling in these events, the closer we get to the due date, the less I'm paying attention to stuff like asking the CoC for permission. I generally have everything lined out and I'm just getting stuff done. So I don't want to run afoul of anything. So I'm trying to just get approvals and everything way ahead of time, so that when the work needs to be done, I don't have to worry about that part of it.
That's why I want to get you approval for all of the baseline components, kind of all local stuff. And then when you're like, but I got tons more people, and it's like, well, that's a reason to fork out the extra.
I think I'm sorry, does anybody remember offhand what the current budget was? Was it $5,000?
I can look right quick. I've got it open on another tab.
Okay. I want to say that I think the current budget is enough to cover the site, and you know,
5,000.
5,000. I'm hoping that that'll cover the site, so I'm not too worried about that. Although honestly, they don't require all of that upfront either. So generally, they'd be okay with us paying before the end of the year, I'm sure.
And as an example, what I'm thinking is like $5,000 plus 75% of tickets sold before, you know, X date. You know, January 1st or whatever.
I want to make sure that, and this is mostly for a precedential kind of thing. I don't want you guys to give me access to money that would leave me at a deficit. So like, if you give me $5,000 plus a percentage of ticket sales, I could potentially end up spending more than the total ticket sales come up to, unless that percentage was really low. So, you know, another way to do it too might be to say that like, just changing the budget from, you know, to say $5,000 or 80% of all of the ticket sales, whichever is greater. You know, something like that might give me more wiggle room if I sell a whole bunch of tickets, while still leaving me with a base budget. Although If you guys could bump it up to $6,000, then that would be great. Because again, the extra day of the site adds a chunk of money.
Yeah, and if we're looking at, if it's a $2,000 a day site and we're looking at 3 days, that's 6,000 there. So
that's the baseline. I'm confident that I can work something out with them that will be less than that. But yeah, that's the published price for that event. It's like $1,950 a day.
Well, I know you're looking for all your lead positions, so maybe after you get your lead positions, you can talk to them, kind of work with them, see what they need, and then you just have what you need, and then combine that all together and come back to us with that. Or do you need? And we can give you some now.
It's much easier if I can give the tavern person and the dungeon person, whatever. If I can give them an idea of what they have to work with, that will help them shape a budget rather than just saying, give me a budget and I'll go back and see if I can get it approved, because they might ask for way more than you guys are willing to approve. And then by the time we get back to them, we've wasted a bunch of time for them to refine the budget that they could have just done in the first place. If that makes sense. Like, I don't want to have to go through 10 iterations of the budget in order to find common ground. I'd rather get a ballpark.
Right, that makes sense.
So, I mean, like in my head, when I'm just kind of doing my bar napkin math, like I'm looking at what I think the event budget will come out somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. But again, there's a lot of variables there. It could be less. It could actually be more. If it's more, that's just simply because we've made more than that in ticket sales, and we'll see. And right now, we're still kind of playing with ticket prices. I still plan to do a tiered pricing thing like we've done before, but the ticket prices will be somewhere between, probably $35 or $50 for the base ticket for all 3 days, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe doing day tickets of like $20 or $25 per day if you want to do a day ticket. But if we do, $50 a ticket, we would make $5,000 off just the amp carders that come to Dungeon Crawl, if that was the average ticket price. So if we get, 100 non-amp carders to show up, which may seem like a crazy number to some people, but I think we can probably get that. That's $10,000 in ticket sales. And that doesn't count anything we sell at the tavern or booze or anything like that. So, I mean, if you had 200 people, doing amp guard and playing games for 3 days straight, and you were selling them Hot Pockets and beer, you could probably make a few $1,000s off the Hot Pockets and beer pretty easily. So, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind as well. And that's what I'm thinking when I put this money together. I definitely don't want, like, I'm taking a pretty cautious approach to this event, just so you guys understand. It's really important to me that the event format be successful. I want people to want to do this sort of thing in the future, because if we can have a successful event and it works out well with the community, then there's really nowhere to go but up. So the last thing I want to do is end up running negative on the event. So, but there will be some big numbers involved, just because we're doing a lot of crazy cool stuff, and so that costs money.
All right. Anything else we should? I think we're going to hold off on making any decisions for tonight.
Yeah, I don't think anything needs to be done right this second.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more weeks before, Besides, I want you guys to open the bank account and get that squared away first.
Right. I think Amanda caught that part. So. Yeah,
it's important to me.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up, discuss tonight? No, nothing. Okay. Call it on time at 9:01. Does that sound good, guys?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm gonna just kill the public broadcast here. So good night, everybody.